Hello and a very warm welcome. I am Gushin Garland and you're watching Firstpost. In the next few minutes, I get you the top 40 updates from around the world, only here on Fast and Factual. Let's get started. We begin with the latest developments on President Trump's tariffs. In a latest fact sheet released by the White House, China now faces up to 245% tariff on imports to the United States. This comes after Beijing imposed export restrictions on key materials, while also it imposed retaliatory tariffs on Washington. Former US President Joe Biden made his first public speech since leaving office. He addressed the crowd at a disability rights event in Chicago. Biden strongly criticized the Donald Trump administration's changes to Social Security. He said that the President Trump's actions caused the serious harm. The former president also pointed at staff cuts and office closures that made it tougher for people to get help. President Trump signs an executive order aimed to lower crippling drug prices. The order enhances the process for price negotiations, giving states more flexibility. White House officials say the move will provide meaningful relief to seniors and low-income individuals. The order also directs the Food and Drug Administration to allow states to import medicines directly from countries with lower prices. Meanwhile, the White House Budget Office proposes eliminating funding for UN peacekeeping missions, citing failures in operations in Mali, Lebanon, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The US is the largest contributor to UN funding, providing 22% of the regular UN budget and 27% of the peacekeeping budget. However, these funding cuts are still subject to approval by the US Congress. Moving to the war in West Asia, Israel says that it will continue to block humanitarian aid from entering the Gaza Strip. This as the UN warns that Gaza is facing its most severe humanitarian crisis since the war began in October 2023. Israel's defense minister claims that the policy aims to prevent Hamas from using aid and as a tool with the population. Sudan's paramilitary Rapid Support Force announces the creation of a rival government in the country. This comes as the country marks the 2-year anniversary of a civil war between the army and RSF, which has displaced millions and worsened the humanitarian crisis. A Peruvian court sentences ex-President Ollanta Humala and his wife Nadine Heredia to 15 years in prison for graft. The couple is found guilty of money laundering over illegal contributions from Brazilian construction giant Odebrecht and Venezuela's government. Humala was taken into custody after the verdict, while Heredia, who sought asylum at the Brazilian embassy in Lima, was later granted safe passage to Brazil. France orders the expulsion of 12 Algerian diplomats and consular officials after Algeria orders 12 French officials to leave. The escalation follows the arrest of an Algerian office in France, which comes just weeks after a phone call aimed at repairing ties. France calls Algeria's action incomprehensible and unjustified and demands the resumption of dialogue. South Korean police raided the office of former President Yoon Suk-yeol and his security detail. The raid is part of a criminal investigation into alleged obstruction of an arrest warrant execution. This comes as Yoon's criminal trial or insurrection charges begins with a court hearing scheduled for April 21. And Chinese President Xi Jinping meets Malaysia's king in Kuala Lumpur as part of a broader regional tour. The visit comes as Beijing seeks to strengthen regional stability and counter US tariffs. President Xi will travel to Cambodia, one of China's staunchest allies in Southeast Asia, later this week. In climate news, environmental and advocacy organizations have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration. This is for removing key government web pages containing federal climate and environmental justice data. The lawsuit argues that deleting these resources used to track climate shifts, pollution levels, and infrastructure vulnerabilities that deprive the public of vital taxpayer-funded information. U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is facing growing pressure to release nearly $400 million allocated by Congress to help low-income families manage cooling costs this summer. The funds remain in limbo after the Trump administration dismantled the office overseeing the program and laid off its staff. With summer approaching and extreme heat likely, state and tribal leaders are urging immediate action. Climate activists gathered in Brasilia, Brazil, calling on the government to lead a fair and inclusive energy transition ahead of the COP30 climate summit. Demonstrators staged symbolic acts such as throwing ashes from Amazon fires into a pond to highlight the environmental and social costs of inaction. Activists stressed the need to prioritize communities and ensure access to clean energy for all. The India Meteorological Department has predicted above normal monsoon rainfall for 2025. The seasonal rainfall expected to be around 105% of the long period average. The southwest monsoon, which typically begins around June 1 over Kerala and retreats by mid-September, plays a vital role in supporting the country's agricultural sector. Ras Hunkur Ab Beach, a remote and pristine part of Egypt, is under threat from planned tourism development. Environmentalists warn that construction projects could damage critical marine ecosystems. The beach is known for its biodiversity, including coral reefs, sea grasses, and nesting turtles. Now to business and tech news. Gold prices hit a new record high as global trade tensions and a weakened dollar boost safe haven demand. Spot gold jumped 1.7% to $3,282.88 an ounce, while US gold futures gained 1.8%. India's retail inflation drops to a more than 5-year low as food prices continue to ease. March inflation stood at 3.34%, driven by a sharp fall in vegetable and pulses costs. This as the Reserve Bank of India signals further rate cuts to support economic growth amid global uncertainty. Nvidia says it would take $5.5 billion in charges after the US government limited exports of its H20 AI chip to China. This development follows concerns after the US declared that the H20 chip could be used in building supercomputers in China. The US government announces new licensing requirements for the export of advanced chips, impacting companies like Nvidia and AMD. Cloud-based designer platform Figma confidentiality files for an initial public offering in the United States. This comes more than a year after a $20 billion acquisition deal with Adobe was blocked by regulators in the UK and Europe. Big Four accounting firm PwC ceases operations in over a dozen countries it deems too small, risky or unprofitable. The decision follows a range of ongoing scandals for the company, including the alleged concealment of fraud at Evergrande in China and misuse of confidential information in Australia that led to the changes in its leadership. Hermès overtakes LVMH as Europe's most valuable luxury company by market capitalization. This after the Louis Vuitton owner missed expectations for first quarter sales, as US shoppers curbed purchases of beauty products and sales in China remained weak. Global sales of electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles rise 29% year-on-year in March, driven by growth in China and Europe. This comes as EV sales in North America slowed down amid US tariffs policy, uncertainty and supply chains pressure. Moving to the landmark antitrust trial against Meta in the US. New court documents reveal Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg considered spinning off Instagram in 2018 due to antitrust concerns. This comes as Zuckerberg acknowledged Instagram's superior camera was a key factor in the decision to acquire the app. OpenAI is reportedly working on a social media platform similar to Elon Musk's X with an internal prototype featuring ChatGPT's image generation and a social feed. This comes as CEO Sam Altman seeks feedback on the early-stage project. It is unclear whether it will be released as a separate app or integrated into ChatGPT. Meanwhile, OpenAI names members to its newly formed non-profit commission, which will guide the company's philanthropic efforts. This comes after the ChatGPT maker announced a corporate restructuring plan, creating a public benefit corporation to manage its growing business. OpenAI says the commission will focus on community engagement and AI-related issues. Moving to sports, we begin with cricket. Punjab beat Kolkata by 16 runs in the ongoing Indian Premier League. Batting first in New Chandigarh, Host Punjab were bowled out for just 111 runs. But in a fierce show by ball, Punjab bowled out Kolkata for just 95 runs. Yuzvendra Chahal was awarded Player of the Match for striking 4 wickets by giving just 28 runs. India will tour Bangladesh for 6 white ball matches in August. The men in blue will play 3 one-day international and 3 T20 international games against their Asian rivals. The tour will begin final preparation for the 2025 T20 Asia Cup, for which India are the hosts. India's middle-order batter Shreyas Iyer was named ICC Men's Player of the Month for March 2025. Iyer finished as the highest run scorer with 243 runs in March, playing a crucial role in India's Champions Trophy triumph. Iyer's victory of this award means that India have won the award back-to-back, with Shubman Gill winning the award in February. Australia's latest batting sensation, Georgia Wall, was named ICC Women's Player of the Month for March 2025. The 21-year-old played a crucial role in Australia's 3-0 whitewash against New Zealand in March. Wall scored 161 runs in 3 innings, with what ICC recognized as Wall's quick-fire style. In football, Aston Villa faced a 4-5 aggregate defeat in the second-leg quarter-final of Champions League against PSG. The first half ended with a 2-1 lead for the PSG, but Aston Villa turned their fortunes with John McGinn's 55th minute equalizer. Ezri Konsa quickly extended Aston Villa's lead to 3-2, which ended up to be the final scoreline of the game. Villa were eliminated 4-5 on the aggregate. Barcelona entered Champions League semi-finals after beating Dortmund on aggregate score. In the second-leg quarter-finals, Dortmund's Serhou Guirassy scored a hat-trick to beat Barca 3-1 in the game, but Barcelona made it into semis on 5-3 aggregate score. In tennis, British player Harriet Dart apologized for asking the umpire to tell her French opponent to put on a deodorant during a Rouen Open match. Dart lost to France's Louise Boyson in a straight sets. During the game, the British told an official to instruct her French rival to put on deodorant. Later on Instagram, Dart said she regrets her comment made during the heat of the moment. Men's world number 2 Carlos Alcaraz advances in the Barcelona Open. The Spaniard beat American Ethan Quinn 6-2, 7-6 in their round of 32 clash. Alcaraz will next face Laslo Djere in the pre-quarterfinals. In shooting, India's Saurabh Chaudhary climbed the World Cup podium once again. The 22-year-old won the bronze medal in the 10-meter air pistol individual event. Chaudhary had previously won the bronze medal in the 10-meter air pistol mixed team event along with the teammate Suruchi Singh. In Formula One, Lewis Hamilton says he is adjusting to his team's Ferrari unique demands after finishing 5th at the Bahrain Grand Prix. Referring to his decade-long stint with Mercedes, he said he is slowly getting into Ferrari's new car systems. And finally, from the world of showbiz, Backstreet Boys singer Nick Carter is facing a 4th sexual assault allegation, as a new lawsuit has been filed by a woman claiming he forced her into sexual acts in 2004. According to the complaint, Carter's action not only left her traumatized, but also led her to contract HPV, which she says eventually caused her to develop cervical cancer. Carter has previously denied similar allegations, calling them false and defamatory. Rapper Lil Nas X was hospitalized after experiencing sudden facial paralysis. He temporarily lost movement on the right side of his face. In videos shared on social media from his hospital bed, the artist assured fans that he was doing fine and remained in good spirits. Despite the scare, he appeared to be recovering and thanked his fans for their support. Actor Priyanka Chopra is set to reunite with Zac Efron in an upcoming comedy film. The project's title and Chopra's role remain under the wraps. The film is reportedly centered on a former convict played by Efron who takes courtroom TV show hostage after blaming a judge. Chopra confirmed her involvement by sharing a behind-the-scenes post on Instagram. Jessica Capshaw, best known for her role as Dr. Arizona Robbins in Grey's Anatomy, will join the cast of 911 Nashville. It is a new spin-off of the popular first responder drama on ABC. Capshaw will star alongside Chris O'Donnell in the upcoming series, which is expected to premiere in the 2025-2026 broadcast season. The show will focus on emergency responders in Nashville, Tennessee. And disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein returned to court on Tuesday for a retrial on sexual assault charges. This is after his 2020 conviction was overturned by New York Appeals Court. The retrial focuses on sexual assault of former production assistant in 2006, the rape of aspiring actress Jessica Mann in 2013, and a new allegation from the same year. That's all for today. Thank you for joining us. I am Gursheen Garland and we'll see you right back here tomorrow. Stay informed and stay tuned to Firstpost.